Welcome to Happy Hour Holidays, your go-to podcast for business, entrepreneurship, and life stories. We want everybody to go out there and make your dreams come true. So I'm here every single week, Manny Fresh. We got the resume Sean Fabre, and in studio today, we got one of the owners of Paradise Flooring, Rob Goetz. What's up, Rob?
Happy to be here, yes. And not to toot my own horn.
Go Rays.
Go Rays. I root for the Rays. I've always liked the Rays, but being a Pinellas County resident my whole life and what they just did to the city of St. Petersburg and the Pinellas County playing those games, and they exploited a hurricane so they can move. We'll see what happens.
But if you think about it, I mean, it was kind of in the calling of what they decided to do, because a lot of people said, well, if you come to Tampa, then you're going to have a higher attendance rate.
Is that true, though?
Well,
it's a smaller stadium.
It's
only
13,000. They're already not selling out games. The second game of the year, my buddy's sitting behind the dugout last night for like $200.
I mean, but
first week. And here's the thing about Tampa. So it's a hockey town. It's a football town.
Yeah.
Even look at baseball. You talk about Cuban. If you guys go down to Miami, they've won 2 World Series. They play in Little Havana. Yeah, and nobody goes to those games. It's one of the nicest stadiums, retractable roof, because there's other things to do in Florida in the summertime. So St. Pete to me was a great spot because it's a real up-and-coming, trendy area. But the only thing I didn't like is the whole here to stay. We're staying around because they explored Tampa and they explored Ybor City.
Yeah,
and nobody gave them what they wanted.
So my whole thing with that is what you have to see is a lot of people that live in Florida are transplants.
Yeah.
I mean, your first team isn't even the Rays.
No, I'm a Yankee fan. I grew up in Florida because we didn't get a team here until I'm 15.
But you see that? I mean, even growing up in Florida, you're still not a first-team Rays fan. Same thing with Miami. I mean, Miami, a lot of those people are from New York.
Look at Vince Serrano with the Mets.
Vince Serrano with the Mets.
That's how it is, because I always knew one day they could leave. They've been playing the stadium game for 20 years.
Long time.
I remember they were going to do a sailboat stadium down in St. Pete, and there was a study years ago when people used to read the newspaper about the location of the stadium actually being the best central location for, Manatee County.
Where Tropicana is?
Where Tropicana was the best spot.
But now, think about it this way. You got to go over the Skyway if you're in Manatee County. You got to go over Howard Franklin, which now they improved, to get to downtown St. Pete in order to even go watch one. Now with the Tampa St. Pete Ferry, maybe you'll get some Tampa fans. But now that they have a central location, in my opinion, for just Tampa fans.
Yeah.
In Steinbrenner Field, maybe. Let's see what happens with the attendance.
I'm anxious to see. It's on Tampa right now.
It's Tampa Bay, though. We got to remember that. Yeah. So a central location for St. Pete, Clearwater,
so are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
No, I get it. But, I mean, at the same time, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in Tampa.
And they only they got 8 home games a year, 9 or 10 if we're lucky.
Yeah, this is a shit ton of games.
This is 82 games. Can you pack a stadium for 82 games?
Well, but you were also talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they have around, 82 here at home?
Yeah.
I mean, you're also saying that was the number one franchise for 4 or 5 years in a row, and they were sold out for multiple years.
And I love the Lightning, and I agree with you. It's become a cultural thing. You go to a game on a Thursday night,
it's
all the girls are wearing white pants and blue shirts, and it's like it's more of a corporate thing too. Yeah. Like people, that's a place where you bring clients and stuff.
Absolutely.
Baseball's a different kind of game. Hockey is like, most people don't know squat about hockey, but they like going.
Yeah.
Most people don't know a lot about baseball. They probably know it. Maybe they played it as a kid, but they don't love going to those games. You got to be a baseball fan to be like, hey, let's go to more than 2 or 3 games a year.
What's your prediction then?
Until the prediction. But besides that, I think Florida fans just suck in general.
Yeah.
They're all bandwagon people. And even think about the Tampa Bay Bucks. We can't even sell that shit out. I don't give a shit how many times they go, all the season tickets are sold out. Well, where the fuck is everybody at?
I mean, you're talking about 65,000 seats, man.
I sat through Jameis Winston and a 10-year stretch where nobody went to those games, where they were pathetic. And, luckily Tom Brady's changed the culture here.
I agree.
But, are they selling out every game? I don't know.
Probably not.
A couple times a year.
But they'll be around 55,000,
Yeah.
Giving away 15,000 tickets for free.
Yeah.
But back to the Rays.
But that's more than the Rays, which is like average stadium attendance is what, like 12,500?
Yeah. The thing is the TV market, and that's why Rob Manfred, the baseball commissioner, he wants them to stay in Tampa because they have one of the top TV markets. So all these, a lot of older folks sit at home, they watch baseball, and that's what's drawing the money is the sponsorship and the ads. But, they could have went to Montreal.
Yeah,
Don't think they haven't explored all these other options already.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why they haven't left. They're still under contract, but they had a plan. A hurricane hit. The city of St. Pete said,
Two
give
hurricanes.
us... Exactly. And the city of St. Pete said, give us a little breathing room. We had a lot of disasters here. Hang on. They came back a month later and said, all right, we'll stick with the plan. And the Rays said, give us 3 months. And then they said, no, we're not doing it.
Which I don't disagree with, man. They're not the Pinellas County Rays. They're not the St. Pete
It doesn't matter.
Rays.
It's the Tampa Bay
I get
Bay.
Tampa Bay, but if you're not playing in where the first word, which I get is not a city, I get it's the Bay. If you are not playing in the city in which the Bay is named after, what the fuck's the point, man? What the fuck's the point?
Have you been to New York? You know where the Giants and the Jets play?
They play in the same stadium.
Right?
In New
MetLife.
Jersey.
Oh, New
And
Jersey.
it's in Jersey.
Yeah, because they probably want to get everybody out of the city. But when you're crossing Howard Franklin, when you're crossing Skyway, when you're maybe taking 19 down to get even close to the stadium, not to mention 5 o'clock traffic, and you're bottlenecked, it makes no sense to play in Pinellas.
I get that.
But New York has to be bottlenecked too, if you're thinking
Well, that's
about
why
it.
they sent them out to motherfucking yeah. But think about it this way: in Tampa, you're not locked by bridges because people from Orlando can come, people from Plant City, people from Brandon, people from Wesley Chapel, people from Lutz, Odessa.
So now you're making everybody who lives in Pinellas cross the bridges.
Fuck yeah, we had to do it for 15 years. Right? Yeah, y'all motherfuckers do it and see how great it is.
I'm excited now that it's in Tampa to see. Because it doesn't bother me. I live in Palm Harbor. So either way, it's a half hour.
Yeah, you
it
take
doesn't
Hillsborough.
matter.
You
Yeah.
take Hillsborough,
I want them to stay here. I want my kids to be able to go to baseball games. I want to go to baseball games. If it's outside, I don't care. Look, I went to Wrigley Stadium last year in June, and it was hot as hell.
That's in Chicago.
So it was 90 degrees
Yeah.
in Chicago, where sometimes you can go in June and it's cold outside. But the bottom line is you go to any stadium in the country in June, July, and August, you're going to sweat your ass off.
That's right.
So people want to bitch and complain. It's like, have you been to a Bucks game in September?
Yeah,
Tell me what that
exactly.
feels like.
Yeah, it's fucking
You're going
hot.
for the sport. You're going because you want to go.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I don't
not-
give
yeah.
a shit about the weather either.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to go watch the game, I'm not worried about it. I know it's hot in Florida. I know I'm going to be sweating my ass off, but I go because I love the team.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yeah,
care.
but you give a shit about the drive, don't you?
Well, I mean,
I mean, it's not that hard to drive. So I was
but
talking-
that's what I go back to bandwagon fucking fans because no, if you were a real fan, you don't give a shit about the drive. You're going.
if
You're
the
going.
Bucks had a stadium in Pinellas, I'm going.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, exactly.
But that's football. I mean, baseball's never really been big in Tampa Bay, right? Because in attendance records show,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are probably, and you mentioned the TV viewership, they're probably watching to watch the opposing team as opposed to the home team.
Well, the stadium,
No, bro,
people
you know
talk
that's
about
for
the
a fact.
stadium and like, all right, so Coors Field, the Rockies and the Rays came out in the same exact year, and Coors Field has one of the nicest stadiums, and it's just as old as Tropicana. The problem was Tropicana was the last dome ever built, so you were on the
Well, what
back
about
end of
Miami?
a trend. That's a retractable roof, so it's a
Oh.
different design. Where this is just the stadium's trash, but it is what it is. If they stay in Tampa Bay, however they do it, I don't care if they play in Plant City or if they play in anywhere
Ybor,
around here.
yeah.
It's going to be the same drive for me. I'd like for them to stay here.
So let's think about it this way also in terms of stadiums. The Pittsburgh Pirates, their
Yes.
stadium is right on the river,
Yeah.
and it looks dope as shit.
I went
It's
there
open
last
field.
year.
Yeah, it's badass, right?
It's incredible.
What do you think about the Rays Stadium being around Ybor, where it's like the gasworks area? They're gonna tear all those shipping, or the port, half the port, and then you're close to Ybor. You're close to downtown Tampa. You have a trolley that takes you right up to the stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense then. Right?
I love that idea. I think if they could make that work, that would be awesome. Yeah, I'm biased because I live in Pinellas County. I think they should stay there. But the only thing is I didn't like them going back on it. But yeah, if you have an open air stadium or a retractable roof in that district, and it's booming out here. I mean,
yeah.
Tampa has come so far. So many people have come here. Look what Vinnick has done with the Lightning.
Yeah.
If somebody did that with the
Water
Rays,
Street,
yeah,
Water Street, yeah.
You know, they got to make it attractive. And I went to Pittsburgh last year. I went with my wife and my 2 kids, and we all like baseball. And we had planned on going to 1 game. We went to 4 in a row. We were there for 4 days. Because, like, what else are we going to do? We stayed right across the stadium. You walk there over a bridge. Like, that. There's a reason why that's the #1 stadium, you know, and it's got a beautiful setting.
Yeah. Oh, it is? It is the #1?
It's the PNC Park is the #1 stadium.
And you also have the backdrop. You have the river, but you also have downtown Pittsburgh.
And all those bridges are yellow. It's called the City of Bridges because along the 3 rivers there. It used to be called 3 Rivers Stadium when we were
I remember 3 Rivers Stadium.
Yeah. And, like, Pittsburgh's, you know, Pirates are not that good of a team. They haven't been good in a long time.
I know. I never remember.
But there's something about you go to that stadium, like for my kids, they wanted to just run around and play at the playground. And it's very welcoming and inviting. And, you know.
They got such a badass logo, too. And then to have a badass stadium. Why can't you get them the fucking
are you a little bit biased because that logo kind of looks like this logo?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because they were saying, "Let's go Bucks, let's go Bucks." And my kid's like, "Bucks." I'm like, "Well, that's a nickname for a pirate, you know." So, but yeah, we got the coolest NFL stadium in my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean, big old pirate ship.
Oh hell
yeah.
With the cannons and
Fire
stuff.
the cannons.
Yeah. I bet people make trips to come here because of our stadium.
Well, shit, we've had 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
I mean, that and the stadium was built in like 99?
Like 97, I think.
Yeah. Like not even
as soon as they switched, like that was the team I grew up with.
Yeah,
right over here at
Hand Stadium.
Yeah, the old sombrero.
The old sombrero. Yep. Talk about a hot stadium. It was nothing but bleachers. You know, so go there in September and you're sitting on a silver bleacher and there's no shade anywhere. You know, like that was rough.
Watching Barry Sanders won an 80-yard run.
Yes. I saw Steve Young throw 4 touchdowns one day. And then Joe Montana, when he was with the Chiefs, lighted up. Like, that's what you went for, to watch the other teams. Yeah. But they changed the colors. They got a new stadium. They got Tony Dungy, and, you know, the rest is history.
Well, I mean, he didn't win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he did change the mindset of the organization.
Or did Monty
before that, we were a laughing stock.
Or did
let's be serious. Nobody. I mean, my dad. All I remember, my dad before Tony got there was him cursing at the TV watching the creamsicles.
Or
and I was like,
Kiffin.
Dad, why are you so mad? He's like, because they always suck.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Tony Dungy comes around and we start winning games, and my dad's like, wow, this is nice. And he's like, you got lucky because they started winning when you guys were like old enough to remember, you know, because before that they were just.
I think it was Monty Kiffin and Rich McKay, man. The GM, you got to give credit to the GM. That's like saying Jason.
It was Tony.
That defense was nasty, but he put that staff together.
And who was the person drafting these people? McKay.
No, Tony Dungy.
Tony Dungy wasn't the GM.
It doesn't matter. He brought all his coaches. You're forming your coaching staff. You got Mike Tomlin. You got Herm Edwards. I mean, you're talking about an all-star cast that now or was, you know, they're still coaches.
Future Hall of Famer. Our Hall of Famers.
Yeah, no. I mean, you're talking about great coaches that came from that coaching staff.
I can't give it to Dungy though, man.
You have to.
I don't see how. I mean, he only won. Dungy only won 1 Super Bowl, and that was in Indianapolis. Oh. And he had Peyton Manning.
Well, the thing is that Dungy did the same shit that he always did. We were up, we were gonna win, and then he played ultra conservative ball, and we fucking
Bert
lost.
Emanuel rule. You know, that game was wild. That game was like 12-9 or something. Yeah. Like that was such a low scoring game because the Bucs defense was just lights out. Yeah. And they had Sean King as the quarterback. You know, I mean,
I did like him on the radio station though. Yeah, on the radio when I listened to Sean King, I was like, he's good on the radio. Not so good as a quarterback.
Who's the guy that we also had on? Dignitary.
Oh yeah, Ian Beckles.
Ian Beckles. Yeah.
He was offensive lineman, but you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, yeah, sure.
They're not.
Tampa sports has come a long way because I remember the Lightning were trash for a while. Too.
Oh my god! And then we won how many? 3.
Now 3. Yeah.
2 back-to-back. One with LeCavalier
and Brad Richards and Matty St. Louis.
Back in like 2002, I think.
04. Yeah, you know what sucked was they won the cup, and the next year there was no hockey season, so they didn't even get to celebrate.
Wait, what?
05, there was no.
It was a lockout.
Season.
No, it was a strike, right?
I think it was a lockout or something, but they didn't even have like that. Stanley Cup champion banner. It was all kind of like forgotten about, you know. So and then they win 2020, and it's pandemic. They're playing in a stadium where nobody's even there, you know?
Oh,
So
my God.
it was wild because we couldn't even go. It was like, you know, there was no home games that year. They won it in 21 when there were home games, but, you know.
What was it called before it was Amalie Arena? It was like the St. Pete Times Forum.
St. Pete Times Forum. Then
Right?
it was the
Is that what
Tampa
it's
Bay
called?
Times
Yeah,
Forum.
yeah.
Because it
And
used to
then-
be the St. Pete Times. They used to have the Tampa Tribune and the
Yeah.
St. Pete Times. And then it was just, now it's just the Tampa Bay
The Amalie
Times.
Arena. Now
Amalie, it was the
Amalie.
Ice Palace years ago.
It was Ice
Oh, the
Palace.
Ice
you know.
Palace, I
yeah.
remember that
I used
shit.
to go years ago. The Lightning played at Tropicana Field.
No, how?
Yeah.
How?
They started at the fairgrounds. The
No.
Lightning first season was at Expo Hall at the fairgrounds.
Are you
Yep.
serious?
Swear to you. And then they played at Tropicana Field. They used to call it the Thunderdome.
The
And they,
Thunderdome, yes.
They
there you
set
go.
an attendance record. They had like 28,000 people there for a hockey game, for a playoff game. But they weren't that good back then. When they got really good was when they got over here in Tampa.
Yeah.
And then now it's just like,
And that was
like you
in
said,
the
the number
90s,
one
right?
franchise.
It was, yeah.
hockey
Voted
in Tampa.
across all sports.
Mhm.
The Tampa Bay Light. And I don't know if you ever went to the Chase Club or the XO Club. Bro, that
Oh,
place.
the XO, yeah.
oh,
yeah.
my God, man. That place,
That's good.
bro, all the food in there, it's like a buffet line. Literally
Yeah.
around the entire fucking stadium. All you can eat, all you can drink. I mean, sure, you got a tip. But, damn, when we went there, when we were working at Icon, and yeah, it was just fucking, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I could see why it was the number one franchise. I think it was like they stopped in 2023 being the number one, but they were sold out
Yeah.
continuously, man, because people wanted to go. And then you got downtown Tampa, beautiful. That's why I think the Rays Stadium should be kind of like Pittsburgh, put in gasworks where you have the river
Yeah.
and you also have the view of downtown Tampa. Oh my God!
Honestly-
Get the
honestly-
fuck out of
honestly,
here, right?
yeah.
Where the Tampa Bay Rowdies play,
Oh, it's beautiful.
that would be awesome for the
Outland?
Tampa Bay Rays. I don't know
Yeah.
if they could fit it there,
Bro, you're
They
but the
talked
backdrop,
about that years
but the
ago.
backdrop of the water, like we're in
But
Yeah.
you're going back to Pinellas.
That's fine, man. They've had
They
a-
explored they had a sailboat. They had renderings for a sailboat stadium, so it was gonna have a retractable roof, and it went up and down like a sailboat, like this.
Oh, wow.
That was like early 2000s, like when they turned into the Rays and they dropped the devil from the name. That was the big talk, you know. So
That was weird. Why did they do that?
I don't know. I think they went. It's kind of a dual meaning. If you look at the logo, it's like sun rays because they have the little sun in there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's also like the stingray, manta ray, whatever it is, you know. But hey, they started winning. I remember MC Hammer did a concert that year, 2008, when they made it to the World Series. He's like, they took the devil out of Rays and they started winning. MC Hammer style. But yeah, they. You know what's cool is they're gonna have fireworks over here now after games and stuff because it's outside
Where?
at the Steinbrenner Field.
Yeah, but where are they launching them from?
Well, they always have them. Like I live by Clearwater, so it's fun. Like minor league games are more enjoyable than major league games. They're just fun. Like even when I go to other cities, we
That's
go to
why you
minor
have
league
the hat
stadiums.
on.
Yeah, the
Well, what's the
Tarpons.
hat?
It's the Tampa Tarpons.
Tampa
So it's
Tarpons?
the Yankees minor league team, and I picked this up in spring
And
training.
they play out of Dunedin, I'm assuming.
I don't know where they're playing this year, but normally they play in
out of
Steinbrenner.
Steinbrenner.
Yeah,
But
but
isn't that stadium too small for a major league? Isn't it?
It's only, I think, 15,000 attendance.
No, I'm talking about like the how deep it is. Is it
the
still
park itself.
That's still-
No, they're playing there. They played last night.
Yeah.
Hey, actually, do you want to talk about the torpedo bats?
Yes,
Oh my
I love
God,
it.
dude, you love it.
Yeah.
Only the Yankees can use them.
No, there's other guys using them.
Only the Yankees can use them because,
No.
yes, bro, what I've heard is that because they had an independent manufacturer make them, all other franchises have to make their own so they can't just distribute it among all the players. And not to mention, the Yankees, for the first time ever on 3 pitches, went home run, home
Yes,
run, home
yes.
run.
I was watching
then
that
they
with
hit
my kids.
6.
Yeah.
Bro, that is, and crazy part, the bat is legal.
Well, Aaron Judge doesn't use a torpedo bat, and he says, "Why would I use a torpedo bat?" I'm setting records, basically.
Yeah.
So everybody has had access to it. It's been around. Francisco Lindor has been using it this year, and now teams are putting in orders for it. But look, watching home runs in baseball
It's awesome.
is going to save it. You know,
Yeah,
nobody wants to watch a 2-1 game.
That's true.
You know, so yeah, the Yankees. My kids don't play travel ball. They're 8 and they're 5. So, but everybody talks about these kids using these travel ball bats where they have these big fat barrels at the bottom of it. Like you can't use them in Little League.
Yeah,
and these
that's
kids
tough.
are hitting the balls 30, 40 feet further. So I'm like, why not? Like, and it's within the rules.
It is.
You know, of course, the Yankees did it first. It's kind of like the Tush push with the Eagles.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
like, you did that. You saw that. Now you're going to see everybody doing it probably. So,
and then baseball definitely needs something to resurge it, you know, because it was, for me, the pitch count, the timer definitely helped it the last time I saw it. Last time I saw it, I actually enjoyed going to the game and watching the game, because it's not like, okay, this guy's going to pick his ass again. And then throw it.
Here's the
you
problem.
Got to shorten that game.
The Yankees hit 9 home runs in one game.
Yeah.
With the Torpedo bat.
What was the next closest home runs ever hit?
So
10's the record.
Oh, 10's the record? Damn.
And they hit 3 in the first 3 pitches.
3 pitches.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. And then in that first inning, they hit 6.
It was crazy.
That's outrageous.
They were saying...
That's not even like... That should not happen.
That should not happen. But it was funny. They had like a golf club, and they're like, "Why don't they make the golf clubs like that with all the forgiveness spots on all the places?"
Oh, I love all the memes that have come out. Listen, being a Yankee fan, the last 5 months.
Oh, so he loved it, of course.
Yeah, it's been a terrible run though. Like I was at the World Series last year with my
when was
son.
the last time they won?
They lost the
90s.
World Series. They looked terrible doing it. They embarrassed themselves. Garrett Cole, their best pitcher, is gone for the year with Cy Young. They lost out on Juan Soto. It's been a lot of losses being a Yankee fan. So if it's a bat, no matter what it is. But it's funny how you see these things in sports that you don't think of. Somebody does, and you're like, damn, where's that idea been? Why did it take so long to get to
Why the fuck did it take so long to make a bat like that?
Yeah, why not have who hits you don't really hit it off the end of the bat. If you hit it off the handle, now you have more wood there.
Well, what they did was they took it from the handle and put it where the what do they call it? The logo is, or the brand is.
Yeah.
And it looks literally like this.
Yeah.
But they don't exceed the 2.56 inches in width.
Yeah, it's within regulation.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So it's not cheating technically.
No.
But it fucking sure as hell looks like cheating. I mean, oh man. And then if that goes on, I mean, you got to think about it this way also. What you're going to have is a lot of games hitting home runs, a lot of runs, but that means the inning's going to take longer.
Yeah.
But also, fuck the pitch clock. I mean, what is it, batter's clock or the pitch clock?
Pitch clock.
Pitch clock. Now what you're going to see is pitching faster, batters hitting further. I mean, the game's probably going to now extend.
People want offense.
Yeah, offense for sure.
Offense. But I'll sit through a longer game if things are happening.
But that's another thing now. You're thinking about the evolution of a bat now being able to hit home runs easier. That means pitchers are going to have to innovate their pitching in order to...
Well, these guys, that's why all these guys are blowing their arms out. They're coming up. 100 miles an hour is nothing anymore. These guys are throwing 100 every pitch. Yeah. You used to see a guy once in a while throw 100. Yeah. Now, these guys throw so hard. That's why nobody bats 300 anymore. They're batting 250. They're batting 275. If you're batting 300 nowadays, that's impressive. When I was growing up, I was like, Ohtani's insane. I mean, that dude is on a different level.
But now he doesn't even have the highest contract in baseball.
Yeah, Juan Soto. I'm glad he left, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's way too much for one player. The Yankees wound up getting 4 guys for that. I mean, it's not like basketball or football. Yeah. If you want to give $750 to, even Lamar Jackson or somebody that could win you a Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes, one player in baseball is not going to do it.
Well,
and being a Yankee fan, I know that. Though. Yeah. Well, Patty Mahomes.
Last year.
Last year. Yeah, but Jalen Hurts, these guys will revolutionize your franchise. Yeah. A baseball player, not a pitcher, not a catcher.
Shohei Ohtani can?
He could do it from both sides of the plate. But
50-50, bro. Come on.
And he had a shitty World Series. If they lose that World Series, he had a horrible World Series. He was hurt, too. Yeah. But he didn't do well. But it's the heads-up play in Game 1 where he takes what should have been a double, turns it into a triple, then he scores on a sac fly. The next play, they tie the game. That changed everything.
All of a sudden, you're a hero.
Yeah.
That's how crazy sports is, man. You literally have one play. You could be having the worst game ever. You score a goal, all of a sudden, everything's forgotten. And we'll be right back with Happy Hour Holidays. We're really enjoying Rob in the studio today. We love talking about sports, man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We'll be right back. Like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah. Welcome back to Happy Hour Holidays. And talking baseball is something
for the first time.
Happy to bring it from the other side of the bay.
Hey, Rob, on another note, I know the hurricane, I think it's fucked up what they did with the Rays. And then, 2 major disasters.
I don't think it's fucked up.
And taking it away from them. But,
I mean, fuck Pinellas. I don't know.
It's
Wow, dirtball. But how did you guys hold up over there, at least in your area with the hurricanes?
You know, I was listening to some of your podcasts about when that happened and it brought back a lot of memories. So we live, my business and my shop, I live behind the house I grew up in. Like I grew up in Palm Harbor. So like, I lived in,
that's not even Pinellas almost. That's kind of...
No, it's Pinellas. It's
I know
yeah,
it's located there, but it's like on, you're more Hillsborough almost.
It can be. It doesn't go too far east. That's
Safety Harbor.
Safety Harbor. That's where the burial grounds are that I heard you guys talking about. But I did live in Safety Harbor for 4 years, but then I moved back to Palm Harbor in 2020. But we're 85 feet up, so the first hurricane was that one, Helene.
Yeah, Helene.
So all my friends that live on the coast or anywhere near the water, they got smoked.
Fucked.
I mean, just destroyed. And it's sad, and you go and you see, and we're working on people's homes right now where they're nowhere near ready, and it's 7 months into this thing. They've been living in hotels. It's just a disaster. And I heard Vince talking about trauma. It is trauma. Like when the Gulf of Mexico is in your living room, you got a problem, and being able to rebuild. And there's a lot of people that are struggling, like cities are giving them a hard time about rebuilding. You guys are in the real estate, the 50-50
Oh, yeah,
rule.
50-50.
Dude.
Yeah, I mean, I drove through the canals, through through St. Pete, over there in Madeira Beach, and it's not normalized yet. People are living in campers.
Yeah.
People's houses are still messed up. I mean, it's not normal there still. It's still it's a very devastated, group of people that are living, day to day there.
Yeah, and it's been getting closer and closer, and like Helene wasn't anywhere near us.
And we're in April, guys. We're in April. Let's just, I want to point that out. This happened in August.
No, October.
October?
Helene was like end of August, I think.
Oh, it was August.
Or maybe end of September. But they were within like 2 weeks of each other.
And so we're talking 7 months?
Yeah.
People were living in campers outside of their fucking house still?
If you go there, I mean, you'll still see
these construction companies are so backed up. And if you go to build a house...
what about the insurance companies?
That too. And who's, how are people really getting money? And I know everybody's, for us, we did well when it first happened, but our business, because we only do flooring, we dealt with a lot of people that were self-paid. Like, hey, they lived on the water. They own their house outright. They don't have insurance, or they don't live on the water. They weren't in a flood zone, and they still got crushed.
So even the people that did live on the water that own their house outright did not have insurance?
Yeah.
So that's kind of fucking yourself.
Well, think about it.
Well, not technically, because some people go, well, you know what? If I put away the same money I give to the insurance company, if something happens, I'll have that money there to be able to fix my house.
So $1,800 a year.
Not for flood insurance. Not for flood. It's like 10 grand a year.
Well, I don't live in a flood zone. So
Well, every flood zone's different. So, but if you live directly on the water, financially, look, a lot of these people, I know people lived in that house 30 years. So 30 years at 10 grand a year. You're going to have the backup funds. But now people are going to be rethinking it because it kept getting closer, and now we finally saw it happen. So it was wild. Mother Nature's a son of a bitch. You saw Milton was one thing. It was storm surge. And then Helene was the storm surge. Then we had all the debris everywhere, and we're like, fuck, all these people are going to get smoked again. We went to Georgia for that one. And
no shit.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay,
when am I going to get... middle of Pinellas?
Yeah, I don't live in a flood zone or anything like that, but we left because my argument to my wife, she wanted to stick around. We have a whole house generator. We have hurricane windows and doors. We're not in a flood zone.
Anything happened to your house?
No, we got lucky, but this was my thing. I'm like, when am I ever going to have 4 or 5 days where my cell phone is completely quiet? It's an opportunity.
You called it a hurricane vacation.
Yeah, we went up to the mountains and we hung out, and I didn't post any pictures. Blue Ridge. So because people were down here losing their minds, and plus it turned into an apocalypse trying to get gas. I'm like, fighting
that
people,
is true.
That
is fine.
I'm not sticking around for that.
I didn't fucking, lucky. I mean, usually I'll be like the other people at way last minute.
Border.
But I literally fucking did everything before that shit, because they were like, oh, it's not going to go this way. It's not going to go this way. And then all of a sudden it's heading that way.
You never know.
I already beat the crowd. I was like, yes.
It was, and now what's fucking crazy is they're starting in Mexico and coming right here in 3 or 4 days.
I know.
We'd watch them coming from Africa.
Sometimes, And then they'll curve up and then around. And then now you'll get it in the Gulf of America and then it'll just slam in.
It's funny you talk about that because I'm always like, I don't care. We just call it the Gulf. Like, we don't say the Gulf. I was swimming in the Gulf of Mexico. Bro, we fucking swim in the
call
Gulf.
it the Gulf
call it the
Coast.
Gulf.
Gulf
Nobody
Coast,
says the Gulf of anything, but that shit's funny. But, now it's like, okay, well, one was storm surge. The other one was wind and all this stuff. But what's next? That's why I feel bad. People that are rebuilding, in the back of your mind, like, fuck, what happens if this happens again?
So you mentioned the 50-50 rule. So, I mean, that means... I don't know. You guys know more about
it's the FEMA, whatever money you got from the FEMA, but you're only allowed to do 50% of whatever your house is.
Yeah,
market
if you live
value.
in a $500,000 house,
You can only,
and they come up with these crazy numbers, so I'm not an expert on it, but I do know the basic principle. If you live in a $500,000 house and your whole house got destroyed, they're going to come up with a number on what it costs to repair it. If they say, hey, it's $300,000 to repair this $500,000
you
house,
got to tear it down and
build it up.
Yeah.
So...
Which I think on the building codes, I know they, everybody says it's a 1 in 100-year storm, but at the same time, we live on the fucking coast.
Yeah.
I would have thought building codes would have required you to, have that second, but
remember,
to have it on
the
the second.
1960s.
No, I know. But at the same time, even the houses that are built up, it smells like mold in their whole fucking garage, because even if you have the garages on the bottom and you have that on the top, your house is still compromised because of the smell.
I don't know if you guys have ever been to Miami, and after Andrew, a lot of houses are stilted. First story, second story is where the living quarters are, and you have a staircase going all the way up.
Well, we have that.
I think that's what they're trying to do over here, where they're like, hey, listen, if there's a surge and it goes up 8, 9, 10 feet, well, it's just stilted, so your cars may be damaged, but the house itself, because it's built through block, is going to be okay.
As long as you don't have a Tesla.
Yeah, that too. But like where we live, there's a little community called Ozona, and a lot of them are like the Key West style homes. And
Arizona?
Ozona.
Ozona. Okay.
Yeah.
Dunedin.
Yeah, right over there. So it's a little part of Palm Harbor, but it's a really quaint town. It's like a fisherman's town. That's where the baseball fields are, and like
I photographed a house there. That was stilted.
Yeah, a lot of them are. But, downstairs where a lot of people keep either their cars or pool tables or they convert it into, it's uninsurable down there, but people still spend a lot of money, and those all got wiped out. But if you lived in a 1-story house, which a lot of those are, you got killed, you got crushed. So. But yeah, we're moving on. Luckily, I mean, and I feel really bad for real estate. Anybody in the real estate industry right now? Like, I got my real estate license in 2004. I still have it. I haven't used it in over a decade because my family owned a flooring company. I keep it active just so I don't have to retake the test and stuff like that. But you never know what's going to happen.
Courses,
every 2 years I got to do it by September 30th.
Well, if you sell your house, then you don't have to pay a realtor.
Yeah, that's what I have it for. I bought it for myself. So, all right, I got the license for myself. So anytime I want to go buy a house, I'd be like, oh, well, my commission's going to cover closing costs. So really all I have to do is just pay whatever the mortgage is going to be, and that's it.
Or if you're a really good realtor, you just have the seller pay it.
Well, now that's changed. So they changed the laws and everything and on how you get paid. And now with the rates, it's tough. And it's funny because when I was growing up, my family had a flooring store. That's how I got in the business. My company is not my family's company.
So were you born in Pinellas County?
I was born in New York. I moved down here when I was about 6 years old. My dad.
So you're basically Floridian.
I'm a Floridian. The only thing I claim out of New York is I like the Yankees and the Knicks. Other than that, I mean, I'm a Florida boy. So, but I got into the flooring industry, and I graduated high school in 2001. I got my real estate license in 2004. And my dad, who used to leave work at 2:00 every day and go on his boat and play tennis, he's like, "You need to get a real estate license. They've got it real easy." And I'm like, I got my real estate license, and after like a year or two of doing, I'm like, dude, this is
not
brutal. You could show somebody 30 houses and spend a lot of time with them, and then all of a sudden they either go someplace else, they don't wind up buying. You wasted a lot of time. With people with flooring, our close rate is probably 80%. So 80% of the people I make contact with are going to wind up purchasing from us, So, and I don't, look, there's nobody's going to close 100% of the people.
No.
But real estate is tough. When you get paid, it was nice. My first commission was $6,000. I never had more than $600 in my life. Yeah. But I also knew those can be few and far between, but it's sad to see what's going on and how tough it is now for real estate.
I got a curious question here. I know a lot of flooring companies, they give you a price per square foot on installation? Does it vary between materials, whether it's laminate, vinyl, or tile, or travertine, or inside, outside? How does that work?
So we do carpet, tile, laminate, and vinyl plank. And laminate and vinyl plank are essentially the same install price, but we just bundle the whole thing. You know, so we only install, because we have a showroom. We have a $3,000 or 3,000 square foot. It's a showroom and a warehouse in Palm Harbor. So we're a one-stop shop. So when you come to us, we sell you the material and we install it. And you know, we have people all day long. Hey, I bought this stuff at Floor and Decor. Will you install it? I'm like, no. I'm like, that's like showing up.
Why not though?
That's like going to Burns Steakhouse. Yo, I got this filet at a butcher shop. I want the good waiter. I want the good cook. I want the atmosphere. But I want to pay for my own steak. How's that sound? You know, because the whole experience with us is we're going to provide you with a good product that's going to last and is going to be backed by a manufacturer that we have a relationship with. So we don't.
Well, you don't have to guarantee warranty on the shit that they provide you.
I have to, though.
But you could just provide installation, right?
That's the problem, though. If I was an installer myself and it was Rob's flooring installation, that I would be happy to do that. But as a company, in order to, you know, really thrive and be able to
have them buy the materials from you, have them installed,
because I have to warranty it. You know, people may have heard of Mohawk or Shaw. If you go to buy a car, everybody's heard of every brand that's out there. So they know what they're looking at. People don't know, hey, I just sold a job today, Southwind, 1,200 feet. Most people don't know what Southwind is. In the industry, it's a phenomenal brand. The vinyl planks this thick, it's top of the line stuff. So they trust you that, hey, you know what you're talking about.
Because you're a dealer of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, but it would devalue me just to install or something.
That's actually good. That's exclusivity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, I always say it like this. Like, if I just sold a church, right? It's a $40,000 job. If they went and bought the material somewhere else, God forbid something went wrong with that material, I'm on the hook for it. So not all of that money is profit. You know, if I'm doing the install myself and I sell a $3,000 installation, it's $3,000 profit. Yeah. But when I have to pay it out myself, I have to be able to make a margin on the material too.
For sure.
So then, is there a variation between material types and price per installation per square foot?
Yeah, to your point.
So like, what's the cheapest one? I'm assuming it's carpet.
Carpet's the cheapest. Then
after that is vinyl.
And then laminate and tiles.
And then tiles the most expensive.
Tiles the funniest one because people will go to Floor and Decor and they'll see a tiles at $1.99. I'm like, yeah, but installed it's $12. Because tile labor is so hard. Everybody wants to install vinyl plank and laminate now because you can do 1,000 feet in a day or two. Tile 1,000 feet is going to take you 5 days. You know, you can't say like, hey, you go in this room, you go in that room, and we meet in the middle. That's not how that works.
What about hardwood?
We don't do hardwood anymore. You did years ago, but
it's not really in anyways.
It's really not practical in Florida. It makes no sense. And I always say this. I'm not going to sell.
Well, I have hardwood in my house.
Here's why. And if you have hardwood, the day it goes down, it's beautiful. But it scratches easy. It's not fade resistant.
Well, you put epoxy or polyurethane on top of it, right?
I mean, some people can do that, but if you want like a real natural looking hardwood,
it's not going to look natural with the polyurethane.
No, it looks like a gloss.
Yeah. And it's beautiful, but for us, the big problem as somebody who has to sell it and warranty it, most people glue it down, and you know, Florida has moisture underneath the slab,
so it expands and it contracts,
if you may get 4 or 5 good years out of it, 6 good years, but after that, it's going to get ugly.
I can tell you this: I do have maybe a 1/4 inch gap right down the middle from my living room all the way to the front door where it has expanded out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's normal, you know, and it's hard.
I wish
to
I didn't have it. I wish I didn't have it. I wish I had waterproof laminate flooring.
I love laminate. I'm huge on laminate. And like this tile that you have here, to me, tile is you know, the best.
That's what I love too, man.
It's the best.
I mean, I know it costs more because you got the thin set, you got the grout, you know, and you got the tile. So it ends up costing you more, but boy, does it's the best.
It's durable. And forget it. Once it's down, that is not going anywhere.
No,
you don't have to worry about buckling. You don't have to worry about locking systems.
So you're probably pissed off if you go to a property and they have tile down and the tile looks terrible and it's probably an older property and you have to remove the tile. And then they say, hey, in replacement of the tile, laminate flooring. How long would that fucking take for let's say 1,500 square foot home to remove all the tile, strip the tile,
And with that bulldozer thing.
Well, we have demo crews that's all they do.
They do,
yeah. But it probably takes them some time, right?
It could take 1,500 feet's about 2 days, and it can be messy.
Oh, that's not that long.
It's not that bad. If you're trying to do it, like when I was growing up in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Hammer and chisel?
Yeah, it was a jackhammer. I was the removal crew because I didn't really, my brain wasn't fully developed yet. I was partying all night long. So my dad's like, get a jackhammer, So that's what I did. I ripped up floors, and that's how I learned the industry. But yeah, in those days, it took a while. I remember we had a hardwood job for a professional baseball
that's
player.
Be hard too.
Oh yeah, ripping up hardwood by hand is a nightmare. But now they have the ride-on machines, and so it goes quick, But the one thing that I love is laminate, and I have laminate in my house. And everybody's crazy about vinyl plank for years because they threw the word luxury in front of it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about too. That new it's like a wood look luxury vinyl plank that almost looks like tile. It even has like almost a grout.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you would still pick the laminate over that?
What'd you have in your Windsor?
It was the thin
laminate, right?
Waterproof vinyl.
Probably vinyl.
So
Vinyl's the thin one.
What do I have in
Laminate's
mine?
thicker.
But
What do I have in mine? Is it laminate?
No, either laminate or hardwood.
Most people don't know.
Well,
most real estate agents don't know.
No,
they walk through the house and like, this is hardwood. I'm like, no, that's vinyl.
No,
I defer.
No,
Yeah,
so I laid my own floors. I know I have hardwood in my living area, but in my bedrooms that I replaced and laid myself, I think it's laminate. So vinyl's the thinner one.
Vinyl's thinner. It can
laminate
be heavier.
is the thicker one.
It feels more like wood. It looks more like wood.
But
That's
it's
why
all
I like
it's
it.
all just pulverized.
It's
and
all
compacted.
fake. Yeah, but it looks real. That's why laminate. In the early 2000s, we sold carpet tile and hardwood. We didn't even sell laminate because it was trash. And that's why people have like PTSD over the word laminate.
Yeah.
And like these manufacturers, they remove, like Mohawk calls it Revwood. They don't even call it laminate. Revolutionary wood. So because it looks so much more like real wood. And the benefit to it is it's $7-8 a foot, where hardwood's $10, $12, $13 a foot.
No, bro, I only paid like $1.68
for hardwood.
No, for
Well,
I
I'm
guess
talking
laminate.
installed like out the door, like how we do it.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Yeah. You may be able to pick it up cheaper, but our prices.
No, but remember, I installed it myself.
Oh yeah. So you can catch some.
And it was a bitch, bro. I fucking hated it.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's
tough. I've never installed a floor in my life.
I did 4 bedrooms, and I can tell you, never again.
You're
man.
a sales guy.
Yeah. I started out doing demo, and
let's throw out a situation here because recently we had and I think I was telling you this off air. A friend of ours, or who knows if he's a friend anymore. You know who you are. He put down 85% deposit on a job that was staircase. What would you call it?
Yeah, to do the risers. And
the white risers.
And then
so he got a $14,000 estimate, an $18,000 estimate, and like a $21,000 estimate.
Yeah.
Well, of course, naturally, being the cheap person that he is, you know who you are. Chose the cheapest one, and he had to put down $9,500.
Yeah,
and then the guy did nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we hear it all day long, and because
what are the benefits with going with an accredited company as opposed to just some Joe Schmo on the end of the fucking corner that you think is going to be great?
That's not going to happen with us. We have a reputation to uphold, and that's why we have a 5.0 on Google. We have almost 200 Google reviews, and somebody like me, where you can go to my Instagram page or my Facebook page, and like I'm at the Little League field, my reputation is all I have. So if I was to, people that I always think about that, somebody's going to make off with 10 grand. Like, is that really worth your career? Like, I mean, how many, I just don't ever relate myself to that mentality.
Right. So why should somebody go with more, and there's a reason why you pay more because of security. Guarantee.
That's what I always say.
So
we're an insurance
Tell those
policy.
cheapskates. That, hey, maybe you shouldn't go with the cheapest one because the cheapest one's going to be the biggest headache, right?
Yeah, well, our slogan is "Don't roll the dice, call paradise."
Oh, I like it.
I like it.
And it's the truth because, look, I used to work at a large retailer.
Damn, that's
and
good.
I wasn't, as a general manager, I wasn't in control of the installers. I wasn't in control of anything. Basically, they told me to look over the store. And I knew that 50% of those jobs that went out that day were going to have a problem, and I had no control over it. So as a small business owner, somebody who it's going to come out of my pocket if there's a problem. Every problem is money out of my wallet. So, and my reputation. So, and future. So we built it on quality. And, and Vince just, did a bunch of work for us.
Yeah,
and
shout out Youngest in the Yacht Club, Vince Serrano.
Raw Link Media. You're the man, Vince. Yeah. Jenny, we love you too.
Yeah,
Thank you
Jenny,
so much for putting me on with these guys and everything. But, the first reel that I released was me talking about shopping for a quality company. And I always tell people, look, even if you don't buy from us, make sure you don't run into some handyman because they don't have the money to back it if something goes wrong. And here's the other thing too.
And do they even have the insurance?
No, most of them don't. And the other thing is it may be okay today. It may be okay next year. But in 3 years, when that floor starts failing, where's that handyman going to be? And
he's going to be like, I don't have warranty.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how I can pay you back. Yeah, I blew it all on fucking cocaine and hookers.
Yeah.
Because I went to Vegas.
Yeah.
I went on a vacation.
Yeah.
And then I said that I'm injured.
We've grown a lot and we're now at the point where people know us, they can vet us, they can go online, they can see, okay, these people know what they're doing. You can go to our reviews and you'll be able to tell. And just coming in the showroom, you got to feel like when I met you guys, I got to feel like I'm in the right spot,
Yeah.
So your gut's going to tell you.
That's what I think it is, man.
You got to trust your gut.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned too. It's like trust your gut because it's usually right. When you don't, you usually second guess yourself.
I did that recently with a paver purchase, and I went with basically an installer. No, I bought it for my house.
Oh, okay.
And I even told my wife, I said, listen, this deal is almost too good to be true. We're gonna roll with it. I'm going against my own slogan here. I'm rolling the dice. We were supposed to do it the first week of January. First week of January rolled around. I'll get to you next week. Second week rolled around. I'll get to you next week. I'm like, I don't like the way this is going.
Did you have to put down a deposit?
I gave him a deposit, and
what percentage?
It was half down, so it was about $5,000. But $10,000 I thought to do a 3-car garage and a big walkway. I'm like, damn, that's half of what I thought it'd be 20. So I'm like, look, hey, even if he makes out with $5,000, am I going to be happy? No, but I saw his work. He came recommended from somebody I truly trust, and they came by and they did a phenomenal job, and I was super happy. So I always tell people, look, there's a chance that you may get a really good job, but there's also a chance that you may not. With us, there's a chance that you're going to have 1,000% satisfaction, and that's it.
Yeah, because you guys are a business that has a schedule, that's organized, got the insurance, which is massive. If somebody breaks something in the house, you're going to be able to get it.
We talk about real estate too, and that's one thing with my realtor. People want to discount realtors and what they can do for you. You're dealing with somebody. I heard you guys say their life savings, their greatest asset.
Yeah.
They're not all built the same. They're going to put you in a neighborhood that you might not be able to get out of. Like people that think they're not worth their money. I'll just sell it myself. Like I have a real estate license. I've used realtors in the past 5 transactions because I know, I have a license. I'm not an expert. That's like, somebody, you installed your floor. You're not a flooring installer. There's a big difference between somebody that does it every day as a professional and somebody that does it once in a while. Especially with real estate. I mean, that's going to determine a lot.
I did a good job though because engineering
allegedly.
No, man, you can't see any flaws. I mean, it was 4 bedrooms.
I bet you'd be able to pick it out right.
You
right
would
away.
Maybe the trim work. That's usually where you can tell.
Well, I mean, not really, because I was really good with wood prior to what we do now, but I did a phenomenal job.
I trust you.
Yeah.
The Joe Schmo trying to sell me over here.
No. Hey, I did a great job. Nobody can really pick out any flaws, especially my father who used to build houses for Lennar, I think it was.
It was Pulte.
He
used to do the framing.
He used to be one of the workers, framers, and he kind of showed me how to do everything. And me and my wife did it, and I can't see no flaws.
If you're handy and you have that, I don't. Yeah. My dad never installed a floor. Like in my family, we're not the handiest people. We're business people, so I don't know how to install a floor. But yeah, I've seen people that have installed tile floors in their own house.
I will never try that.
Yeah, and they're like architects. Like my wife's dad is a retired engineer, and he just did his bathroom. It looks beautiful, but he's got that. He can put things together. You
gotta have the eye for that.
I don't have it. There you go.
I know sports, I know music, and I know how to sell flooring. Outside of that, I don't know.
I can't lay it.
I stay in my lane,
All right, guys, when we get back with Happy Hour Holidays, we'll continue with Rob and we'll figure out what he likes to do on his spare time. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Happy Hour Holidays. We got Rob in the house. And Rob, so how did you get into the flooring business and how did you make such a successful business here in the Bay Area?
Well, you probably saw the Yankees using hardwood torpedo bats.
It was the bats. Yeah, I saw the hardwood on the bat. I'm like, you could use that same concept on a floor. So let's just go with that. You know, it's funny because I always said nobody ever woke up and said, I want to be in the flooring industry when I grow up.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you go to a car lot and it could be 95 degrees in July and there's 30 salespeople sitting on a car lot. Most of those guys, no offense to car salesmen, but they're not making a ton of money and they're working a ton of hours.
Mm-hmm.
And there's people beating down the doors to do that job. Mm-hmm. And, you know, in the flooring industry, I always thought to myself, well, seeing what my dad could provide for us growing up, you know, my dad moved from New York. He had some money. He didn't know what he wanted to do. He
was in the flooring
store. Well, that's the thing. Like his family, friends, like very good friends that he grew up with, they were in the flooring industry. They were big timers. They had like flooring manufacturing type thing. So it wasn't just like installing. They were like manufacturing flooring on Long Island. So I think that kind of played into his thought process. But he moved down here. He first opened up like a detailing car business, you know, and then he opened up a flooring store, you know, and I was young. And
if I'm not mistaken, Long Island is the rich.
It depends. It's just like anywhere. There's some nice parts and there's some really dumpy parts, you know. But it's expensive to live up there, no matter how you slice it. But even here, the places that we used to thought were the hood are still $1,500 a month for a 1-bedroom right now. Yeah. You know, it's wild. But we came from just a regular middle class town. You know, there was Westbury and there was Old Westbury. So Old Westbury was the estates, the multi-million-dollar properties, and Westbury wasn't bad, but that's where your working class people were, you know.
So then from Long Island, your dad came down here to
Palm Harbor, Florida.
Y'all haven't even moved.
No, I moved to Palm Harbor, Clearwater, Safety Harbor, and I'm back in Palm Harbor. So I'm, 2 minutes from where I grew up in. He moved to a spot that's a quarter mile from where we live now, and he opened up a flooring store, and it was him and my mom and the installers, and they had one other guy working for them. He was very, very small. This was back in the 90s, so they had newspaper ads. There was no internet, you know, so his whole thing was realtors and recommendations and word of mouth. So he built from just a small little place to a place that the whole community knew about, and he did very well. He taught me how to run a business. He taught me the right way to do it. But in 2009, when things got rough, business wasn't bad, but him and my mom had a terrible marriage, and he said, I'm closing the doors. I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. And I said, okay, what was I going to say? You know, but in my mind, I was going to take over the family business one day, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Was it called Paradise Flooring?
It was called Imperial Flooring.
I've heard of it.
Imperial Flooring in Palm Harbor. It used to be across the street from Innisbrook.
I like Innisbrook.
Oh, yeah, everybody knows Innisbrook. Yeah, go
I like the name and the logo for Paradise Flooring.
You know where I got the inspiration from, and I'm not a fan. I'm a Knicks fan, but the Lakers, right? Because what stands out? The purple, the yellow, and there's so much in a name. And when I see something like BNC painting, I'm like, yo, you couldn't have come up with something a little more creative. Like,
it's my initials.
Yeah, A1. Like, come on, dude. Like, where do we live? You know, like looking around the room, look at the colors and look at the names and the podcast. Everything's in your name, right? I didn't get to pick my name. My kids' names are Leonardo and Luca because you're going to know their names. You know, my name's Rob. You know, like I always thought my name's Robert Thomas Getz.
Bro, he's got a kid named Luca.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I spelled the Luka because it was a soccer player.
Yeah.
So I Luka Modric, and I was just like, oh, I like it with the K. So I did it with the K. But yeah, me and my wife both like Luka. We were like,
it's great. Yeah.
So that's our oldest son. And then we picked Italian names. We did Roma for the second one.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So I got 2 boys, but I like Luka and Roma.
They're great
And
names.
my dad was like, bro, what's up with all the Italian names? I was like, they're the best names.
Yeah.
I love them.
Well, Vince Serrano. I mean,
well, he's what? Puerto Rican?
Yeah, but talk about like an Italian name.
I love them, man.
Serrano.
Yeah. But
hey, let me get a plate of Serrano. What?
Serrano, but I'm like, I'm going to pick it. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, what's relatable to us? You know, we live in paradise. What are some good colors? Ooh. And it makes you stand out, you know? And like, you look at these logos and sometimes you're like, man, what were they thinking? And some you're like, wow, that's nice. You know, so a lot has to do with the brand. And that's something we grew up with is branding. That's what we know.
McDonald's.
You know, and it makes a difference.
That's
and,
one of my
don't
favorite.
roll a dice called paradise.
Yeah,
Right? So,
that
slogan.
is good. Man.
Why
That is
did you
good.
come up? Were you like, were you just like in a moment, like, you know, not working, and you're just like, oh shit?
You know what's wild? So I was working,
Yeah.
and I was working at a large retailer in the area.
Yeah.
This
And,
is after your.
This
parents.
was yeah. So my son Luca, who he just turned 6 before the movie came out. He's LUCA, so
Yeah.
daycare went from $1,000 a month to $2,000 a month. You know, so I was paying $2,000 a month, and at that time, me and my wife did fine, but we wanted to live better. You know, I didn't want to just pay the bills and have a little bit left over. I want to be able to go on vacation and be able to enjoy my life and not be sweating where my next dollar is coming from. So I said, well, I maxed out what I could make where I was. There was, you know, I hit the ceiling.
What was it where you were working at?
It was Bob's Carpet and
Carpet.
Flooring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I worked there, and I got my PhD at Bob's. I always say that because working with my dad, you know, like it was different. You know, being at Bob's, I was on a national level. I had exposure to companies and brands and, you know, other
Individuals.
ideas. Yeah, like
And
my mentor,
individuals.
who he passed away, he was the buyer, so he made all the decisions for Empire Carpet. It's just the largest in the world.
I remember.
You know?
I feel like I've heard that name.
Empire. They have the
Carpet.
phone number. They
Yeah.
don't even
They
have
got
a
the
showroom.
jingle.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
And they've been around forever, and he was my mentor, and he taught me the ropes basically. And so, but yeah, Luca was born, and a month later, I quit my job. I didn't know what I was going to do, quite honestly. I thought maybe I would, you know, where can you make more money? At the time, real estate was still an option.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, because flooring's tough, and you know, and then so we opened my own. I say me and my wife. Basically, but I've done all the work, and she knows that.
Whoa.
Yeah. But she owns half of it.
How long ago?
2019. So March 15th,
Recent.
2019, I closed my shop. Or
So you're-
I opened my
open,
shop.
open.
So you're a solo owner.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm
Oh,
solo.
I thought because then I have to refrain because he said one.
Me and my wife. Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
yeah, him and his
But
wife.
she knows my wife takes care of all the back end stuff at the
Oh.
house, which is very important, you know, because when she worked, I had to drop the kids off at daycare. She worked in downtown Tampa.
Damn.
So that's a drive from
Palm Harbor, yeah.
So, you know, it took a couple years to get things off the ground. So, but now she takes care of all the stuff with, you know, they play soccer, they play baseball. My other son's starting football, and it's all at once. He's playing 3 sports at once. So there's so much that goes into all that, and the school, and she's on the PTA, and I wanted her to be there for the kids, you know, so that's worked out. So she always asks, hey, can I do more at the shop? I'm like, no. I saw my parents' marriage get ruined because they work together. Because anytime you're with somebody that long, all day
Yeah.
long, then you go home, it's gonna be tough.
You need somebody. You need to be able to miss each other too. I mean, it's just like, you know, you see them every single day. It's like, okay. Well,
I mean,
we're
you
just going
you
through
want
the-
separation,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little bit of it,
Yeah.
you know.
But yeah, I'm the sole owner, and I didn't have any
Well,
loans to
you
start.
and your
And
wife.
me and my wife,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
owner operator. So yeah, I didn't have any loans.
You
I
want to
flipped-
shout out your wife real quick?
Shout out to Megan Goetz. I love you. Thank you
There
so
you
much.
go.
Without you, the dream's not possible.
There
You know,
we go.
It is a team. It's a dream team when you have 2 people that are on the
Because
same
whether
page.
she's working on the business or working with the family, which is your, you know, your sons and things,
And that's
like that.
more important. I
Yeah.
always say you have the most important job.
Yeah.
You know, I have a friend who his wife works and he doesn't. I said, you got 3 kids to raise. You know, like that. I got the easy job. I get to work all day and run around and do podcasts.
Sure.
Her job starts when I come home. That's why I'm like, okay. And she works too. I mean, she does stuff during the day as well.
But I mean, kids are a full time job.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I give it to my wife. I mean, she was working her entire life, and she was just like, all right, well, you know, we came to a decision. It's like, make more money, daycare, or you stay at home and watch the
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah,
And
because
she said-
evidently, right, the wife would end up working just to pay for the daycare when the wife.
I mean,
It's
was
kind of
still
how it
around.
is. Yeah. When
Yeah.
you weigh it out like that, you
Yeah.
know?
Plus, I
They,
mean,
bro, how did it go from 1,000 to 2,000?
Well, with the extra kid.
Oh,
So yeah,
okay,
from
yeah.
when we had Luca, so a month after he was born, I quit my job. I didn't know, and I have a strong faith in God, quite honestly, and I always have. I'm Italian Catholic, so I grew up with the strong faith in God. My wife's like, "What are we gonna do? How are we gonna do it?" I'm like, "I don't know. If we go on vacation, we just show up and we figure it out." My life has always been, God's going to guide me. He's going to figure it out for me, you know. So I put my faith in God. I opened my company and it was very small. You know, I mean, I worked by myself for the first 18 months. I didn't have any other employees. My dad drove the forklift, so he would meet trucks that came by. It was shop at home totally, so I didn't have a showroom, you know, so I would show up at the house with samples and stuff. I'd be running around working 60, 70 hours a week. And then over time it evolved. And now there's really, I call us the core 4. There's 4 of us.
Who's the 4th?
Me at work, it's me, Lenny, my general manager, Danny, and Dave, who are like my senior project managers. We all are managers. We all do the same thing essentially. But Dave, without us 4, and then we have our installers. But when I worked at other companies, there was a lot more people doing what just the 4 of us do. But we're all sober too. That's been a big part of my journey. Is I've been sober now for almost 12 years, and everybody, the core 4, we're all sober. So we don't have to worry about somebody not showing up, or we're just on top of our game at all times. We make mistakes, but we don't have to worry about the extracurriculars. And obviously getting sober means you had a problem in the past. So we know what that's like. And I've been through that all. I've seen it all. And by the grace of God, right before I turned 30, I was able to get my life together, and it's been able to stay that way. But that's real big in our company culture, is that we're on top of things,
So you're 42.
Yeah, I'll be 42 in September. It happens fast.
September what?
1st.
I'm September 6th.
Oh, right. Yeah, Virgo.
Yes. The sales guy.
We get along so well. People don't know what that means until, I'm not real big in astrology, but if I meet another Virgo, I'm like, oh, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, we're the cool people.
Yeah. I'm
we
the loser.
Whatever I do a lot of. That's why I don't drink or do drugs anymore, because that was my problem. I didn't have a couple beers with the boys. I never bought a 6-pack. It was 12 packs, and then it led into a lot harder things. And those harder things brought me to my breaking point, where it was like, hey, am I going to live or die? I was a low bottom alcoholic drug addict, and it was like, okay, now I'm hooked on 5 substances. It's not just one. It's not just beer.
5 substances?
5 substances.
What were they?
Opiates, benzos, which is Xanax, cigarettes, marijuana, and alcohol. So, but, for 15 years, I was on something all day long, and it just got tougher and tougher and tougher. And,
well, it's hard to operate like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can't run a business like that.
No.
My kids, my prayer is that they never see me messed up, so I couldn't imagine being hungover. There are nights where I'll, once in a while, if I stay up till, 1, 2 in the morning, or if we go on vacation, and like we went to Arizona over spring break, we didn't get in, and we got there late. I went to bed at like 3:00 Eastern time, and I woke up at like 4 hours later, and I felt like I was drunk all day. Like, I'm like, I couldn't imagine how people do this anymore. Just the lack of sleep, just the lack of 4 hours sleep. But yeah, so and I still have fun. Like, talk about hobbies. Like, I still go to baseball games. Like, we love baseball. I love sports. We go to Bucks games. I was at the Bucks playoff game. Like, I was there when we won the division against the Saints with Mike Evans at the end. Like, that shit was awesome, dude.
Yeah.
We were all like, don't do it. Don't do it. Then they did it. And it was so cool. We saw him at the casino afterwards,
He's a cool guy.
He is. Yeah. Super cool guy.
He's good with his fans. And he could have easily gone anywhere else, and he decides to stay here in Tampa. Once you come here, just like Chris Godwin, he had a chance to leave, but this is paradise.
It is.
Chris Godwin has kind of been injured for the majority.
I don't really care. I like Chris when he's healthy, because he's a really good receiver. But the thing is if he can't stay healthy, then it's kind of tough to get that production we want out of you.
And then I don't know how you guys feel on this upcoming Bucs season, but I feel like, we got ESPN saying that we're only going to win 6 games.
They say it every year.
Every year.
Won the division 5 years in a row.
Well, look at our division, man.
I get that, but the Patriots played the Bills, the Jets, and Miami for 15 years. Tom Brady had the easiest path to the Super Bowl every single year.
Yeah, all those teams
every
sucked.
single year.
True.
Until
they got Josh Allen, and finally.
Yeah.
But, I think that was after Tom Brady.
Josh Allen became good, and then because Brady played Mahomes that one epic AFC Championship game,
and
beat him. Yeah. But that was like when Josh Allen was first coming around too.
And then, but Brady also beat Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
That was incredible. In Tampa.
So there is no reason why anybody, in my opinion, can say that Pat Mahomes is better than Tom Brady.
You can't say it anymore.
You can't, because after a Super Bowl and after an AFC Championship game, you lost twice, Pat. Brady's got your number.
And after that ass whooping they just got, if he won 3 in a row, maybe you could open the conversation.
But they can say the same shit about Eli having Brady's number.
Yeah.
Because the 2 times that Brady faced Eli in the Super Bowl, Eli won.
I think that's the only time they lost was to the Giants.
No,
Nick
Brady
Foles
lost.
got him.
Oh, Nick Foles did get him. Yeah,
he lost 3 times.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I watched that game the other day. It was on NFL, the replay.
The classic
NFL Network.
NFL Network when we lost to the Rams with Cooper Kupp. You know, that epic playoff game where we came back and tied it. We've had a tough run in some of these playoffs.
You're talking about 2021 Bucks?
Yeah, we had when we had Brady and they came back. That was awesome.
I'm sorry, but that was terrible coaching by Todd Bowles when he was playing so soft on. I mean,
that wasn't Bruce Arians?
No, Bruce Arians was the head coach. Todd Bowles was still the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me,
that was tough.
Yeah.
That's when Coop was all world. You know, he's the best player in football.
What happened with Coop? What happened with McCaffrey? I mean, bro, these guys fell off.
Yeah. You know,
they really did.
Football's so tough.
And then Brock Purdy. What happened with Brock Purdy with the Niners, bro? Like, this guy goes from Mr. Irrelevant, who went all the way to the Super Bowl, lost to Pat, and then the following season does nothing.
They had a lot of injuries, but still, football's a game of injuries.
They had Deebo Samuel, they have fucking McCaffrey, they had.
It's too violent of a sport to guarantee that your running back's going to be there all 16 games, or your quarterback's going to be there all 16, or even your wide receivers or your players in total. I mean, it's just.
Look at the Eagles, not this last year, but the year we beat them in the playoffs 2 years ago. They started out like 11-1.
Yeah,
they were just steamrolling people.
They were.
Then the last 4 or 5 games, you're like, this team's trash.
Yeah,
and then we beat them. We beat the crap out of them.
We did beat the crap out of them.
We were there at that game.
That was awesome. That was my favorite game I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Before we lost to LA, we actually went to the Eagles game.
We were
that one when Hurts was still coming up. Yeah.
Well, coming up. Come on, bro. He was already really good. That
was before the Tush push.
No, but we went. No.
Yeah,
we stopped him twice on the Tush push.
No, then you're talking about last year.
Last year, yeah.
Because we went to the one
that playoff game they won here. The Eagles were okay. They weren't where they're
that's
at
when they had team dissension. Because I always say, I do it to fuck with them. I say team deception. Golf. Team deception. He's like, it's dissension.
Dissension.
But I was confident in this Bucks team. I mean, look. If they would have had to play the Eagles or the Lions, they beat both of these.
Yes, thank you.
So I thought they could hang with anybody.
Then again, I mean, man, the Lions are the only team in America that we want to see win that may never win. That may never win.
Smoked. And I went to bed, and I missed that game because it was a little bit later. I had to get up early the next day. I put a bunch of money on it because I thought there was no way. And fucking Jaden Daniels just made them look stupid. And, the Bucks played him so well here. They stopped him on all those 4th downs. Then they stoinked a field goal in to win it. But that kid on 4th down, it's demoralizing when they keep getting these 4th downs. That was a terribly coached game.
I know.
But I mean, so have you guys seen this? I don't know if you guys have seen this. There has been a push from other teams. Do you know how there is a rule that you cannot push your it's like a on the defensive side when you're going to block a field goal.
Oh, yeah.
You can't push.
Yeah.
So there are teams that are saying, hey, listen, if you cannot push a defensive lineman into the offensive line, there's no reason why you should be able to push the offensive line into the defensive line to score a touchdown. So there's a push to get the tush push banned.
They're working on that now.
Which, in my opinion, I think is a great rule. I don't think there should be a tush push. Well, the Eagles did it very well with, what was the guy's name?
Kelsey.
Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's an actual play, bro, that should be allowed within the NFL. I think it is taking advantage.
They found a loophole.
They did.
But they're pushing to get rid of it.
Yeah, they should, because players are going to get injured. And it's just kind of like a gimmick. And if they get 4th and 1,
how you can't jump over a D lineman and offensive line to block a field goal? Well, it's the same fucking shit.
Well, they've made it so hard on defenders to play defense to begin with. You can't touch the quarterback. I mean, how many plays did we see Mahomes guys get by his legs?
Are you talking about the Kansas City refs?
Yeah.
That's what
my
they're called,
favorite
bro.
meme. The guy with the refs with the red stripe.
Yeah, bro.
But imagine that. You stop these guys, and finally, then they come up on 4th and 1 or even 4th and 2, and they come up with this gimmick. Like, it's hard to stop. 10 yards, 4 plays. Like, that's tough.
It
tough
is
to stop.
Yeah, no, it's not easy at all, man. But I don't know if football is really going in the right direction overall.
Roger Goodell needs to be fired.
I don't know.
Roger Goodell needs to be fucking let go as commissioner of the NFL. You have done a horrible job, you little Swifter. Motherfucking pushing the Eagle or the Chiefs and Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. That shit ain't helping, bro. Let's get back to the roots. Let's get back to the NFL. Let's get back to the nitty gritty. I mean, when you saw Walter Payton run, when you saw Barry Sanders run, there was contact. When you saw Dan Marino damn near break his hip, and the motherfucker next game puts on a brace. Let's go, man. The NFL is no longer physical. It is now a game of
penalties,
pussification.
Yeah, what is that new call? Like the drop tackle or something?
Yeah. You can't grab the drop tackle where you grab onto the hip and then you just drop your body weight and
that's tackling.
That's tackling.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But now they're worried about them collapsing their knees when they're bringing them down or their ankles.
This is fucking stupid,
I mean, I think that when people play football,
do you call that as
did you see the offensive line ones? I forget if it was college or pro, but I was watching games and they just kept, the offensive line would just throw the guy to the ground. They kept calling it a penalty. I'm like, how is that a penalty? He's pushing the defender down.
A penalty?
Yeah,
what they call
it was like some illegal move, but.
The thing is like with anything, if you're going to race cars, if you're going to be a surfer, whatever it is, you know what the risks are. And I feel like they're slowly taking away what football is because of the risk. I get insurance purposes, all that kind of stuff that goes in.
ESPN.
Yeah, but at the end of the day,
you know
Shout out
Antonio Brown.
Yeah. But you know what you're getting yourself into. And I think the physicality of the game is starting to diminish it, but I'm still going to fucking watch it.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
I mean, I think it peaked, the Kaepernick era, like that time in 2011, 12, things got weird after that. But right before that, that's like when Tebow, everybody was crazy
Ben
about
Roethlisberger.
football. Yeah, when you had Brady and Manning and like that era for whatever reason, but stuff got weird. A lot of the old timers, I don't care whatever you do with the knee, whatever. Yeah. That's not going to stop me. My dad's the type of guy, I'm not watching football. I'm not supporting that. I'm going to watch it no matter what happens. But for the rest of America, that's why the ratings, look at the NBA. I'm a basketball fan. The ratings are plummeted.
Yeah.
Plummeted.
Well, you have
they better get it together. Yeah.
You have LaFlop over here. I mean, and maybe for the Lakers at least, Jokic will be able to do something. I mean, he's been dropping dimes out at the Lakers. But then you have Bronny James, who has no business playing in the NBA. Zero business playing in the NBA. He has one game where he drops like 30 and everybody's like, oh my God, this is it. This is the future Prince James. What the fuck are y'all watching?
That's the thing.
Did you not see the last 15 games where he put up 4 points on like 16 field goal attempts? Bro,
nobody remembers what you did. It's what you did now.
And ESPN is at fault. When we were growing up, they no offense to women's basketball, but like ESPN, I was watching about baseball. They're dropping their relationship, Major League Baseball and ESPN, because ESPN focuses on hot topic items, not the actual sport, what the conversation is about. It's all become talk.
Yeah,
so
Pat
what are you
McAfee.
talking about? Yeah, you're talking about LeBron James all day long, about just
like Pat McAfee.
Yeah, but what he's saying, it's all talk. It's all about rumors.
It's kind of like MTV stopped showing music videos, and it became more about the ratings and not what's actually going on.
And their ratings are good, but guess who's driving ESPN?
Disney.
Yeah. There you go.
So it's changed, and that culture is going away. People are going away from that culture, but just show us the sports. Let us watch football. Let us watch baseball.
Take
basketball.
Politics out of it.
Yeah.
Let's not
that's
fucking
another
speculate.
thing. That's what ESPN has turned into a political
Yeah, it
bullshit.
has. Because of Disney.
Yeah. That was my favorite show. When I used to be a kid, ESPN Sports Center was Stuart Scott, all these guys,
Stuart Scott, that's where
all these guys. It was like top 10 plays, nothing but highlights. So I could catch up when I wake up. Yeah, Chris Berman. And now it's like a bunch of bullshit.
It is. If you watch an episode of SportsCenter,
I haven't in freaking forever.
And all they do is they talk about. Here's the other thing. I love the NFL, but they overplayed it. They talk about the draft for 3 months. It's like the NFL draft gets 3 months full of coverage. Like, what about these other sports that are actually being played? Like, it's just speculation that they're talking about. Ooh, where are they gonna take Shedeur Sanders? Like,
who's gonna be a bust?
No, they're saying the Giants.
Yeah, right. Russell Wilson.
I mean, we've
okay. We'll be back with Happy Hour Holidays. It looks like my producer said we ran out of time. All right. All right, guys, we're back with Happy Hour Holidays, and really appreciate Rob coming in here with Paradise Flooring. And we wanted to see, Rob, can you tell the audience, anything motivational? Obviously, do a pitch to why don't roll the dice. Make sure you use Paradise Flooring.
Yeah.
So, what can you tell the audience about using your company, and then anything motivational to help them out if they want to try to build a business to success?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that, Manny. Yeah. So, as far as we go, Paradise Flooring, it's pretty easy. We say we want to be Chick-fil-A. We don't want to be McDonald's. We want to be Publix. We don't want to be Winn-Dixie, right? So you're going to have a better experience. If that's worth something to you, then we're your company. Not everybody can afford more money. I get that, to pay more for something. But a lot of our clientele is people that are on their third or fourth or fifth home that have been screwed over by a handyman or something like that. Not saying all handymen are terrible, but if you want to guarantee, come to Paradise Flooring. We would love to take good care of you, and you're going to get a guaranteed good quality products, good quality install, and that's the best.
Is it because you don't want to roll the dice? You need to go with Paradise.
That's how it goes. Yeah. If you want to, what does they say? Don't make it twice, make it nice. I forget that.
Wait a second. No, you're almost there.
Yeah.
Don't make it twice.
Make it nice or make it twice.
Yeah,
and that's what I tell people. Like, if you do it right the first time, you don't have to do it again. Because a lot of times we see people that have had to do their floors twice, and that's when it sucks.
And you had to pay what you would have paid originally if you would have just hired the reputable company.
Yeah.
You would have had to pay one time, and it would have been done.
Which there's a lot of idiots out there that pay once, and they can't get their money back. Nothing personal to those individuals, but you know who you are.
And motivational, what I always talk to my guys about it, control the controllables. There's always going to be problems. As good as a company as we are, I always have problems. They're going to happen. We're in a construction industry. It's how you handle those problems. So there's going to be a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. If you do the right thing, it may cost you money. I've got a floor right now. We installed 3 years ago. We've repaired it. And this particular manufacturer who we don't do business with, they will not stand behind it. But look, they came to me for the floor. They didn't go to said company. They came to me. I was selling their products. It's been okay, and now we've had to repair it a couple times. And the guy called me yesterday to say, "Hey, it's failing. It's going to cost me $10,000 to get this guy a whole new floor for his house, but I'm going to do it because I have to do it because he trusted me." And I know it's not like a shirt, like, oh, this shirt faded, I'm not even going to bother. I'll just go buy a new one. No, they spent a lot of money on this floor. They put their trust in me. They came to me, so I want to make it right for them.
Sounds like you are very customer forward, which is a good thing.
That's how we are with our business. 5-star review, 5-star review. That's the way we like to go. We like to do good business. So in turn, we get a lot of referrals, and then you don't have to market so much if you do conduct good business because people are going to spread the word.
Yeah.
And, really appreciate you coming on, Rob.
Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been awesome. We talked about all kinds of stuff, man. Yeah. And wish you nothing but the best success. And, thanks for everybody tuning in. And we'll be back for another episode of Greatness.